With iOS 18, the iPhone 16 and Apple Intelligence all just around the corner, it's easy to forget that your iPhone can do an awful lot of things that the majority of iPhone owners don't know about. So in this video, I'm going to share 10 things that I think most iPhone owners have no idea that their phones can do. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure you already know that you can pinch and push to zoom in and out on maps on your iPhone, but to do this, you need to use a thumb and a finger. Well, in the Maps app, you can zoom in and out just by using one finger or your thumb. The way that you do this is you double tap on the screen, but immediately hold your thumb or finger down after the second tap, then swipe up or down on the screen to zoom in and out. This only works in the Maps app, I guess because it's the kind of app that you might use while you're out walking and need to be able to do this easily with one hand. I don't know why this doesn't work anywhere else on the iPhone, but give it a try if this would be useful to you. If you missed the old 3D touch feature from the iPhone 10 days, you can go to Settings, then choose Accessibility, and in the Physical and Motor section choose Touch, then choose Haptic Touch. In here, in the touch duration section, you can choose the speed at which haptic touch will work, and you can use the touch duration test directly underneath to try it out for yourself and choose the one that you prefer. The default is quite a bit slower than 3D touch, and if you choose slow, it is considerably slower than 3D touch used to be. If you choose fast, this is pretty much what 3D touch used to be when iPhone supported this feature, and it's definitely the one that I prefer out of the three. There is a really useful feature for phone calls on the iPhone called voice isolation. It isn't on by default, you have to enable it, and the way that you would access it is really weird because you can't do it from the settings menu. You have to actually be on a phone call. So let me show you how you do it. Next time that you're on a call, swipe down from the top right corner to access Control Center. When you do this while on a call, there will be a new option in the top right called Mic Mode. Tap on this for just a second to bring up some options. You can leave your microphone mode as standard, or if your phone supports it, you can choose wide spectrum. This is where your phone will leave ambient noises from the background unfiltered, so it will pick up your voice plus everything that's going on around you. The most useful one, in my opinion, is the voice isolation option, which does exactly what it sounds like. It will attempt to remove the ambient noise from your background and just focus on your voice instead, giving a much clearer phone call to the person that you're speaking to. Oh, and this also works if you're wearing AirPods, but annoyingly, you will have to remember to do this once for regular phone calls without AirPods, and then once again for phone calls with AirPods. But once you've set this, it should remain that way for future calls unless you disable it. In most parts of iOS, if you realize that you've made a mistake, you can shake your iPhone to undo. This is a tip that most people know by now, and it also looks a bit silly if you find yourself having to shake your phone while you're out in public. Something that you might prefer as an alternative is tapping with 3 fingers on the screen. This will bring up a menu with some options like cut, copy, and paste, and on the left and right of that menu, there will be an undo and a redo button. Just tap the one that you want to use. Here's another tip for you. Did you know that there's an entire industry that thrives on the buying and selling of personal information just like yours? Data brokers collect, aggregate, and sell personal information like names and aliases, social security numbers, login credentials, home addresses, and more. At best, this data gets sold and used to target you for spam, but the worst case scenario is that if it falls into the wrong hands, you could become a victim of identity theft. And with data breaches on the rise globally, I'm not personally comfortable with the idea of my data being sold. So when the guys at Incogni, who are sponsoring today's video, reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in partnering with them, I set them a simple challenge. Show me proof that my data, which I'm very careful about sharing online, is being traded by data brokers. They gave me access to their service. I spent less than 5 minutes filling out the data needed for them to get started, and within minutes their automated system had found my data being traded on almost 40 different data broker websites. Sites that I had never heard of, by the way. Yeah, not good. So how does Incogni help? Quite simply, they reach out to the brokers on your behalf, and this is good for a few reasons. Firstly, filling out individual forms on broker websites takes ages. Let's say it's 10 minutes per form. It would have taken me essentially a full working day to do this manually compared to the 5 minutes it actually took. Plus, the Incogni system is set up to automatically resend requests if the broker website is slow to respond and keeps checking for newly updated records for as long as you're signed up to the plan. Everything is visible in a dashboard, making it really easy for you to see what's going on. If taking back your personal data sounds good to you, you can get 60% off an annual plan by using code SURFPHT and following the link in the description of this video. If you want to see your previous App Store purchases or see which apps on your iPhone need updating, you would open the App Store, tap your profile picture in the upper right corner of the screen. From here, you can access your purchase history or your pending updates further down the screen. There is a quicker way of accessing this though. If you press and hold on the App Store icon on your home screen, there are a number of options. You can access the search feature, press redeem, which will take you straight through to a page where you can redeem a code or voucher. You can tap on updates to be taken immediately to the page with all of your available app updates, or you can choose purchased, which will take you to your app purchase history. If you always find yourself becoming easily distracted by notifications that pop up on your iPhone, but you don't want to go through the whole process of setting up a focus mode, try this instead. Open Settings, go to Notifications and tap on Scheduled Summary. Toggle the button to enable this. The first thing that you'll need to do is in the Schedule section, press the Add Summary button and choose when you'd like a summary to appear. You can have as many or as few of these as you like, but essentially the times that you select here are the times of the day that you're going to receive a summary of all the notifications that were received during that time frame. You can then scroll further down the list and choose which apps you'd like to be included in the summary. If you don't include an app in the summary, notifications for that app will come through as normal. This section of your iPhone is also pretty handy because it will give you a notification average for each of the apps per week. So this can be a really good way to identify which apps are taking up most of your time based on how many notifications you receive. By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF version of this video complete with screenshots, and you can access it along with all other PDFs I've created, plus future ones, for just $5 a month, or by itself as a one-time payment. You can either scan the QR code that you can see on screen, or follow the link in the description of this video to learn more. I've mentioned this feature on the channel a few times now, but it's such an important feature that I think the majority of people still don't know about, which is why I continue to talk about it. You can use your phone to set up an automatic check-in, which is essentially a security feature that allows your phone to automatically alert a trusted contact if you fail to show up at a certain place by a certain time. You can choose all of the criteria for this, so let me show you how it works. You'll need to start by going to a message thread with the person that you'd like to share the check-in with. You can tap the plus button in the bottom left corner and find check-in. It may be on the second page, so tap the More button if you need to and choose Check-in once you've found it. By default, the check-in will set itself on a timer for around an hour from your current time, but you can press the Edit button to have more control over this. There are two ways that the check-in can work. It can either work after a timer that you set, or it can work when you arrive at a specific location. For this, you would tap on When I Arrive at the top of the screen, and in the Select a Location option, you would choose Change. You would then use the map to find the specific location that you would like to use. Your phone will give you an estimated travel time based on your current location, the location that you're going to, and the mode of transport that you're going to use, but you can use the Add Extra Time button if you wish to set the specific time yourself. Regardless of which of these two options you choose, you will also want to confirm the amount of check-in data that you're going to be potentially sharing. You can see that in my example, it's currently set to the full amount of check-in data, but I can tap on message settings to change this to limited. I would recommend that you have a look at the two different options to see the difference in the amount of data that you're going to be sharing. But in general, if you're sharing this with a trusted contact, I'd recommend choosing full data. This is essentially the data that your phone will automatically share with that individual if you fail to check in at the specific location or by the specific time. And of course, if you need emergency help, you're going to want that person to have as much information as possible. You may also want to tap on the When Are Notifications Sent button, where your phone will give you a full breakdown of when notifications are sent to your trusted contact. When you're happy with your choices, press Done and then hit the Send button to begin the check-in. Your trusted contact will be notified that they're receiving check-in information for you. You can tap the Details button if you wish, and either add additional time onto the check-in or cancel the check-in if you need to. If you own an iPhone 15 Pro, you no doubt already know about the numbers that appear on the composition screen that allow you to jump between the different lenses, the ultra-wide, the wide, and the telephoto. But did you know that if you press the number 1 multiple times, you can switch between 3 focal lengths for that particular camera lens? The default is 24mm, but you can also choose a 28mm focal length or a 35mm focal length. Also, if you go to Settings, then camera, and tap into where it says main camera, you can disable the 28 and 35mm lenses if you wish, and you can also choose what the default lens should be when you're using the main camera. There are some apps on your iPhone that will need to know your precise location, specifically apps like food delivery apps where a driver needs to figure out exactly where you are. But other than apps where there is a specific need to know your precise location, I think that kind of permission shouldn't be granted. The problem is, on the iPhone, you typically end up granting this kind of access to all of the apps or none of the apps. I think it's really important that people know where to go in their phone to see which apps have this kind of precise location and disable it if they want. So for this example, I'm going to use Instagram because this is one of those apps that will try to get permission for your precise location, but in my opinion, it really doesn't ever warrant it. Go to settings and scroll all the way down so that you can get to the list of apps that you have installed on your device. Tap into the app that you want to look at, which in this example is going to be Instagram. At the top of the screen, tap into location. You can see that in my case, the precise location is enabled for Instagram. So I'm going to tap the toggle button down at the bottom of the screen to disable this. Also, it is worth just ensuring that you're happy with the amount of location access that you're granting, which you can see at the top. If you choose never, you'll probably find that some of the functions that you want to use in the app won't work. If you choose always, on the other hand, the Instagram app would always know your location, even if it's running in the background. I would choose either while using the app or ask next time or when I share. If you choose that option, it essentially means that it doesn't currently have access to your location details, and it will prompt you to give it access next time that you try to share something on the app. We've done this for Instagram, but there is no reason why you shouldn't get into the habit of checking this for all of the apps on your phone. Let's say that you're writing a post in X, Facebook, Threads, or whatever app it might be, and you suddenly realize that you need to add a screenshot to your post. Most people would come out of the app, take the screenshot, wait for it to disappear off their screen, then go back to the app, find the add image button, and do it that way. There is a much quicker way of doing this. For example, I'm in X, and halfway through writing a post, I'll come out of X, but leave the app open and running in the background. I'll then take my screenshot, and before the screenshot disappears, I'll tap and hold on it and start to drag it around. I'll keep my finger pressed on the screen, then open up X again, and simply drop the screenshot into my post composing window. So there you go, 10 tips for the iPhone that I think most iPhone owners aren't aware of. What about you? How many of these did you know? And is there anything that you think should have been included? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.